Hey, welcome back to Your In Depth. Today we are going to be covering The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, Part 2. This will be about 59 minutes into the movie, and then for the next hour of the movie. So 59 minutes until about 1 hour and 59 minutes. So as usual, I am Jacob, and I'm joined here by Brady Cardia. We just like to, we're going to walk through. We're going to walk through.
Brady Cardia? Hold on a second. What is that supposed to be?
It's bradycardia. It's a heart type thing.
Oh, well, I didn't understand that one. Come on.
I think bradycardia is like an elevated heart rate,
Oh.
I believe. Really quick, let's just find out. Hey Siri, what is bradycardia? Oh, abnormally slow heartbeat. Sorry, I was a little opposite. Either way, that's what it is. Okay.
Gotcha.
Either way, here on Your In Depth, we walk through and break down some of our favorite fictional universes. And today, obviously, as I said before, is The Hobbit. We are gonna, start in just 59 minutes in. However, before we do, Evan, you said you had an update on some Lord of the Rings / Hobbit Middle Earth news.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, on a prior episode, I talked about the production of a new film called War of the Rohirrim. And the first article I had read was saying it's going to take place shortly before the Lord of the Rings trilogy. There has been an update, which is now new information, like that it's not taking place then. It's taking place like 250 years before the original trilogy. And it'll be based around... I know this one doesn't mean anything to you, Jacob, because you haven't seen the second film yet. But it's not really any spoilers, so don't worry about that. But it's going to be based around Helm's Deep, which is a fortress in the Kingdom of Rohan. And the founder of said fortress, Helm Hammerhand. Really who it's going to be based around. We're really going to get to see like I think it's supposed to be like the very beginning of this like country of these people. Kind of like if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be like the founding of the Kingdom of Rohan.
Oh, okay.
So, it's still animated, so that hasn't changed, and it will actually be coming out in theaters. So far,
that's cool.
Planned for the movie. That is the new update I have for that. Because, as I said in one of the prior ones, I had said it's going to take place right before, but they gave new information and a new time of where
Gotcha.
it take place. So.
Okay.
Cha.
Well, yeah, okay. Makes sense. Yeah, it's really cool to me when they... Sorry, I'm adjusting my mic super quick. When they continue to add on to things like, like universes like this and Star Wars and, all that. It's cool. And, yeah. Either way.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm sorry. I adjusted my mic, and I do not like how I did it. So, just 1 minute. I'm going to adjust it back. I tried adjusting it so I'm speaking to it like just straight on, and then I'm like, okay, but this is in my face. I don't like this, so I'm gonna bend it and turn it this. And nope, no, it didn't. It's
So,
but anyway, I'm back.
Do you have a recap of the last part of the movie we went through, or you want me to do it?
You can do it because I don't. Okay. I need to start doing that, and I thought I did it for the last one, but I fail at keeping with it. So go ahead. Well,
the last portion of the film we watched, the beginning portion, we were introduced to Beorn, the shape changer. Really early, like right at the beginning of the film. They had him and Gandalf had some discussions about graves and up in the mountains and that type of stuff. But then they went from there to the company traveled through Mirkwood. And if you remember, Jacob, they were warned by Gandalf to stay on the path.
Right.
The forest is like shrouded with illusion, and it's very sick, and all that kind of stuff. And like the Bomber, the really fat one, fell in the water and fell asleep, and all that. as they progressed further through the forest, they ended up getting off the trail and got completely lost. At which point they were then captured by spiders, giant, disgusting, terrifying looking spiders. Yeah,
ginormous spiders, which we can't get enough of, judging by something else we're going to cover.
But then, Bilbo as well ended up getting captured by one, but woke up just in time to kill it and free the company, at which point they are then captured by elves of the Woodland Realm. Mm-hmm. And, their kingdom is here in Mirkwood, where we have left off. They got taken to the kingdom of the Woodland Realms. I don't know if that actually has a specific name for the kingdom or if it's just known as the Woodland Realms. Couldn't tell you. But all the dwarves are in prison cells there. Thorin basically told Thranduil, who's, in case you forgot, the king of the elves for this kingdom, he basically told him to go shove his foot, or to go F off, essentially.
Yeah.
After he tried to quote unquote offer them help, when really it was just like, I won't put you in prison if you give me stuff.
Essentially. I mean, really, it was like, I'll let you go and you can proceed on your journey, but once you get there, give me gold.
Yeah, basically.
Or gems, essentially. I mean, it was gems, but yeah.
But yeah, so we leave off with, or we pick up. We left off last episode. We pick up with Bilbo showing up because he was not captured by the elves. He had the ring to be invisible and whatnot.
Yep.
But we pick up with him freeing the dwarves now after he took the keys from some drunk jailers who passed out.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where we pick up on this episode, or this, our podcast episode, this section of the movie.
Yeah, and like I said, it literally picks up as he's freeing them all.
Yep.
And they're all wanting to start heading up, going up in this. They're in the dungeons, right? So they're down underground and all that. They're wanting to go up to get out.
Right.
But Bilbo redirects him to go further down, to where the jailers are. Because as we and Bilbo know, the jailers are still passed out, and he saw them send some barrels down a little contraption down into I don't want to call it a river, but I mean it's not a stream either. It's kind of right in the middle.
Yeah. No, I mean I would say that regardless, it's a moving thing of water that has a good amount of current to it.
Yeah.
I would say probably a river, just more of a narrow one.
Okay.
But
he wants them all to get in barrels because he saw those barrels get sent down this river.
Right.
He knows that this is a way they can escape without having to fight through all the elven guards and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's their goal. So he moves them down there, and they pass by the jailers that are passed out, and they start to Bilbo says, for them to get into the barrels, and they start to refuse, saying they'd certainly be found, but Bilbo says, trust me, you won't. You won't be found, you're good. They're still hesitant, but Thorin tells them to do as Bilbo says, so they listen to Thorin.
Which, I mean, I think that, again, this is another point where it just shows that Thorin's coming around to Bilbo and, actually values his opinion, or, maybe, trust him with if he has a plan, because I mean at the beginning of the first film, and throughout almost all of the first film, Thorin would not have listened at all. They wouldn't have even come down to this point,
right?
If it were earlier in the film. But
right.
I would say Thorin is definitely coming around. He's definitely seeing Bilbo as a valuable asset. By this point, he actually values him as a part of the company.
Yeah. But Bilbo tells them that all the dwarves in the barrels, he says for them to hold their breath. He then pulls a lever, and that sends this ramp downward that then they roll down, and they go into that river that you had mentioned earlier.
By this point, too, the elves have figured out that they've gotten out of their cells.
Right.
So the elves are in pursuit already.
Right, they discovered it, and they...
Yeah, the elves know they didn't come up, so they must have gone down.
Right.
You know.
So they're after him.
Yeah.
But the dwarves roll down, and then that ramp kind of closes up, and that I didn't actually notice what happened with the lever, but that thing's gone, ain't it?
No, so the lever's still there.
Okay, but he can't. He can't like
this ramp is correct. It's like so he can't like even if he pushed the lever again, the ramp wouldn't go down because it's weight based.
Right, because there's no.
You know,
yeah, that makes sense.
It's not like he pulls the lever, a ramp goes down. It's they pull the lever as long as there's enough weight on the one end, it goes down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so he's trapped up there now. Like there's no weight on the one end, so it doesn't go down. He's stuck up there, and he's seeing the jailer start to like come to. And he's like slowly like edging his way on the ramp, trying to get it to go down. So
I don't even know if
he's.
I don't know if he's like just slowly backing up or if he's like actually trying to get it to do it.
Well, because it starts out where he's like hitting his foot on it, trying to make it go down, but then like he hears more guards coming and he turns around, starts backing up, and that's when he gets far enough to where his weight makes it tip, and he just slides backwards off.
Yeah, he just slides back and lands down in that river.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you had already said that. I had it in my note, something you already said, but never mind. So they're going down the river. Legolas has someone blow a horn that alerts the guards, who then close the gate, which there's just this kind of like a fence kind of bars of a gate that were to like allow the water to keep going through, but it blocks anything coming off of it. So they close that, so the dwarves are now pushed up against there in the river. They can't really go anywhere because it's locked. So they do that. The elves stand guard, and they get ready to capture them again. I mean, they're trapped.
Yeah.
But one of the elves gets shot in the back by an arrow, and
coming in.
Yeah. And then rolling in are a bunch of orcs. And they are led by Borg, if we remember the half-iron orc.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like it's just a couple of orcs either. It's like a full-blown, like, advanced party, like, several dozens of them, and, like, the few guards that are there on this little post just get overrun immediately, you know, like, didn't even stand a chance.
Right. Oh, they get slaughtered.
You know, one of them jumps down onto the dwarves to try and kill one, and Bilbo stabs him with his sword. They're basically just like taking the orc weapons as they kill them to defend themselves. But we do see Feely hop out of the barrel to try and pull the lever to get them freed up.
Was it Feely or Keely?
It's Keely. Feely is the dirty blonde one.
Right. Yeah, so Keely sees the lever, and that
makes his way up there to try and pull this thing, get free, and we see Bolg pull out his bow and hit Keely in the leg, right as he's about to get the lever.
What's the half iron orc's name?
Bolg?
Is it Bolg or Borg?
Bolg. B-O-L-G.
B-O-L-G. I wrote it wrong the first time in my notes and then continued to write it throughout.
Oh.
Bolg.
I promise I am correct about this one.
Hold on. I'm searching this one. Because last time you're like, oh no, his name's Thror. Bolg. The Hobbit. Okay. You are correct, so I will proceed.
I make one mistake.
I can't trust it. I can't trust it, Evan. Just now, you called Keely Feely. All right,
it's
things
the
get
same
jumbled
thing.
up.
They're both
it's
unimportant.
Essentially the same
it's
thing.
Fine.
That one's a little more. I can forgive that one a little more easy. Either way, yeah, Bolg. Okay. I don't know why I wrote Borg. But anyway.
I mean, come on, like Feely and Keely, they're off by one letter.
I know. Those ones are, like I said, it's more forgivable. But we see, Keely works his way up to get that lever to open the gate. He fights his way to it. He decapitates one orc. But then he ends up getting shot in the leg by, I think it is Bolg that shoots him, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
He falls in pain, and as I wrote in my notes, Orcs approach him to finish him off, but Tariel saves him. She fires some arrows and kills him off.
Yeah, and so we see Tariel and Legolas and a bunch of other elves show up and start fighting the orcs.
Right, and yeah, they all come in.
As they're fighting the orcs, Keely gets back up and gets to the lever to pull it. That way, the rest of the company can get going down the river.
Yeah, and as they start to move, he jumps down and lands in one of the barrels. But you notice that the arrow that's sticking out of his leg snaps as it hits the barrel, which immediately I kind of just wince at that. I'm like, God, that would hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like that much force to just kind of jostle around an arrow. And
it's not just that, like it broke, so like the arrowhead is still in his leg.
Oh yeah, and not to
so
mention
it's like
that.
It's like it breaks and like obviously the arrow moves, but then the head is still in there with like still moving a little bit right as it breaks. It's not like it just stopped moving. So like there's still movement in an open wound.
Right. But then we enter in the Roaring Rapids scene, which again will be, if there's ever a You're in Depth theme park, this will be one of the rides.
Absolutely. I think you are required to get shot in the leg by an arrow before going on this ride.
This is it. It's for realism. Yes. We want to stay as true as possible to the Hobbit.
At least one person in your party is going to have to get shot in the leg with an arrow.
Yeah, just for safety reasons. Well, first off, we don't report it, but just for out of common courtesy, it has to be one person out of your party. But it doesn't have to be everybody. We understand. Some of you have to drive home, and an injured leg maybe not be the best. So
no, Jacob, it's okay. I got it cleared with the authorities. They don't care. I got it cleared up. I got a whole thing signed and everything. We're Gucci.
How?
Don't worry about how.
Okay. Well, anyway, we enter in the Roaring Rapids scene. They're in barrels. The dwarves they're rolling down the river. Elves are fighting off orcs, and the orcs are chasing the dwarves. And the dwarves are fighting them off too, but elves are kind of like just slaughtering them as we go along.
Yeah, and it's like dwarves are going down the river. The orcs are hunting the dwarves. The elves are hunting the orcs. And so it's like elves and orcs fighting the orcs, but the orcs are only after the dwarves. They're not paying attention to the elves like hardly at all.
Yeah, they're kind of but in this is kind of an extended it's not an extended scene that I'm aware of, but it is a prolonged scene. I need to be more careful with the wording because we are in the extended edition. But we see in this just the scene of them roaring down. They're fighting off. They're doing this. It's more of an action scene. So I don't think we really need to describe everything that's happening necessarily in this scene.
Just some of the key stuff. Like at one point,
right?
And that's where shows several of the dwarves hit a log in order, and then it splits and drops a bunch of the orcs into the water.
Yeah. There's one scene where Bomber becomes a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
He launches out of the water and just takes out a bunch of them.
As he's tumbling along the along the ground, Yeah. And at the end of that, he gets up on his feet and has a weapon in each hand with the barrel still around him and just spinning and hacking and slashing. And it's actually really comical in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it is. Legolas enters in and starts doing the beginning obstacle on the Ninja Warrior course, using the dwarves' heads as the pegs and stuff. Yeah. He's he's traveling. He's using their heads as footholds for being on boats. He's stepping on them as they're going down, so he goes with them. But he's firing away at orcs along the way and whatever. But at the ending of this, the dwarves end up escaping Legolas, just kind of because he's off on shore then, and they keep going. And he's just
more distracted by the orcs too. He doesn't really care about the dwarves at all.
Yeah. But he's watching them float along, and an orc fires an arrow at him, but Tariel shoots it out of the air, saving him. And then she begins to kill the orc that did that, but Legolas tells her to stop as they can question it and interrogate it.
Yeah. Orc taken prisoner.
Yeah, and then we do see a lot of orcs following the dwarves, though.
Yeah, like,
and then
even though we've seen like orcs getting slaughtered, this whole like action scene, like there's still like, so when I said like several dozen show up at the very beginning of this whole thing, it's like
so many. Yeah.
It has to be like well over 100 show up at the very beginning of this, and now I would say they're down to like 3 or 4 dozen. You know.
But moving along, that's the ending kind of this scene. Like we switch and we see Gandalf, and
to the mountain.
Yep, he's heading and approaching the High Fells, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Up some very long stairs. He approaches them, though he actually almost falls.
Well, and like the stairs that he takes up the high fells as well, it's not like stairs built like ingrained into the mountainside. It's like stairs, like someone went up there and carved out holes and put stairs into the holes, like spaced out in a reasonable amount. And it's been like, I don't even know how many years now since like they were put in there, so they're worn down. Some of them are missing. There's no like guardrail or anything, and it's like one wrong step and you're falling to your death.
Yeah. But he reaches the top of it, and there is a broken out gate. There's like an iron bars that are pushed outward. He enters in and slides down the entrance. And once more, at the end of that sliding down, he almost falls because there's just this ginormous pit. Essentially, it goes all the way down, and there's like not jail cells, but there's crypts and like there's tombs
essentially
down
cells.
It. Yeah, I mean it looks like cells, but
and I mean for all like intent and purposes for this spot, like it is never meant to be visited by anybody ever again.
No, and especially judging by it, it's like they're sealed off. There's no reason to.
Yeah.
But he finds a broken open tomb, and investigates further to find that it was broken out of. And as he's looking in there, behind him appears Radagast, who asks him. He goes, "Why am I here, Gandalf? This is not a nice place to meet." Radagast says that these are dark spells, kind of in this area, cast upon the tombs.
Yeah.
And Radagast asks who was buried here, and Gandalf says if he had a name, it's been long since lost. He would have been only known as a servant of evil. So somebody's, sealed away there that was not a good person.
Yeah. And
actually one of many sealed away there, one of 9.
Yeah, and I mean anybody that's seen the original trilogy, even just the first movie of the trilogy, would know who he's referring to. And he is referring to the 9 Ringwraiths, or the 9 Nazgul. For those that have seen the trilogy, it's those dudes that ride the horses and whatnot, and they're in just black cloaks. Those dudes. And essentially, those were all servants of Sauron. And like one of them was like his high general, like literally second in command to all of his forces and all of that. And so like they're really, really bad dudes. And like Gandalf says, like they are so ancient, like these people were actually alive so long ago that there is no remaining records of what their names are. Except for one.
Oh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only 2 that we have any sort of name for is the Witch King of Angmar and he's like he's the leader of the Nine. He's the second hand guy to Sauron, like the baddest of the bad. And the other one, his name is Kamul. And he was when he was actually alive, because like all 9 of these are people that died, and Sauron like bent them to his will, and like they don't have any thoughts of their own. Their will is his will, that type of thing. But Kamul is actually the second in command of the 9. And he was like he was a man from the far east, and that's literally all that's known about him. His name was Kamul, and he was a king or a tribe leader or a warlord or something, like someone in a very high position, of men in the far east.
I see.
That's the only information we're given, because they were alive so long ago, and there's just no more record of them.
Yeah. Okay. But Gandalf goes on to say, since we see that all these tombs are broken open, if I'm not wrong. And he says the 9, referring to all of those, only answer to one master, and in our blindness, in Gandalf and everybody's blindness, the enemy has returned. He is summoning his servants. Azog the Defiler is more than a hunter. He is a commander of legions of orcs, and the enemy, being Sauron, is preparing for war.
Yeah, and I mean, this whole time though, right? We have thought, and I would say just about everybody besides Gandalf has assumed this necromancer is just a man, and this is the first time that it's like that's not just a normal dude. Like this is the big bad of the entire second age of Middle Earth, and here into the third age, and like this is the dude.
Yeah. I have the note that it will begin in the east. It's kind of where things are gonna originate. Gandalf goes to return to the dwarves, and Radagast suggests Gandalf disregard the dwarves for now, as there's a greater threat at hand.
Yeah, and Gandalf even says at this point too, like Sauron has his mind on the Lonely Mountain and Smaug. Because I mean, if Sauron can get a dragon on his side, like there's nothing anyone's going to be able to do to stop it. It's just dragons are so powerful in this universe and in most universes, that like, and Gandalf even says in the last movie that like when Thorin should or maybe he says it in the very beginning of this movie, but he says like, summon the dwarf families, have them stand by their oath. Together you have enough might to retake Lonely Mountain to kill the dragon. And like we're talking 7 full-blown kingdoms of dwarves just to try and kill the dragon. It's not even guaranteed that they will. Yeah. Like, and I mean, we're talking, like I said, kingdoms. Like, this is not little, like, bands. We're talking, like, thousands upon thousands of soldiers in each army.
Listen, I don't understand. If a couple of villagers from a mining settlement along some Tuscan raiders can do it, I don't think it takes a 7 kingdoms of dwarves to do it. Come on.
Well, hey now, and with that, they had to have someone go inside of that thing and blow it up from the inside. So, there's that.
That's true. Yeah. Either way.
But
so,
no, it's just like,
yeah.
Even with all of that might of the dwarves, like, it's still unsure whether or not they'd be able to take down Smaug. So, like, if Sauron could get Smaug on his side, be like, hey, just stay in the air and burn people to crisp. We win. I
mean, really, that's all he needs to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we cut back to the dwarves, and they're getting out of a river. Out of the river. Keely is still hurting from that arrow, but says he'll be fine. and they discover that there's a lake between them and the mountain, and obviously the mountain being the Lonely Mountain, the one that they need to get to. But they have no weapons. That's also pointed out. They have 2 minutes to rest before they need to leave. And someone approaches them with a bow and arrow, and Cautious is aiming at them. Dwalin raises a staff to fight the person, kind of, that's aiming a bow at them. And the unknown man puts an arrow through the branch / staff, whatever he's got.
I think that's just a piece of wood. Honestly, I don't even know if it would be classified as a staff. Like, that's just full-blown piece of wood.
Yeah, that's why I said branch / staff, because it almost looked like a staff, but I'm pretty sure it's a branch. But somebody else throws a rock at him, and he turns and shoots that out of the air. Balin asks him about the barge that this man has, and kind of offers to hire him to get them across the lake, because he's not exactly hostile. He's kind of wary, like, who are these guys,
Yeah, and I mean, honestly though, like, he's not even like, when we first see him, he's not even like aiming the bow at them. He just has the arrow like ready in case something happened,
Yeah,
and, like, each of his
he's
shots,
cautious. He's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, each of his shots is purely like self-defense. Like, Dwalin raises the branch to potentially hit him, so he shoots it in the branch. Be like, hey, don't even try it. Another one gets ready to throw a rock. He shoots the rock out of the hand. Like, you're about to throw a rock at me. Like, what am I supposed to do? Type of deal. Like, his actions.
Did he shoot the rock out of the air or out of a hand?
Right out of his hand.
Okay,
But like, his 2 shots were purely self-defense, and also, I would assume, to kind of intimidate them a little bit. Like, he's no joke, essentially.
Yeah. But, Balin asks about the barge, offers to hire him to get them across the lake. He does some bargaining. They kind of talk about the man's family a little bit. He has some children, and we kind of learn, it's like, Balin says something about the man's wife, like she must be very beautiful or something like that. And he responds with, she was, indicating that she has since passed.
She did.
It's still a sad spot for him. And Balin says, he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, like, I didn't mean to bring that up. Yeah. And I thought it was Dwalin says, like, oh, come on, spare the niceties. Like, basically, like, oh, shut up, it doesn't matter.
He's like, yeah, just get to business, let's go already, come on. We're burning daylight, come on, speed it up.
But, the man asks who the dwarves are. Balin says that they are simple merchants journeying to see their kin in the Iron Hills. Yeah, but the man questions it.
I mean, it's just implied that, like, Iron Hills is another group of dwarves, which is another kingdom of dwarves.
I keep saying essentially. That's kind of a go-to word this episode. Either way, the man questions it because he knows where the barrels came from. And he basically knows they're full of it. He's kind of like, I don't know about that. Yeah. They start talking about paying him double for smuggling them into town. Because he's like, you would need a smuggler or something like that. And they're like, something about paying double. And he's interested in that.
Yeah, and so essentially, he's like, I don't want to.
You're doing it too.
He's like, I don't want to risk the wrath of. Or it was like, he knows where the barrels came from, like you said, and then no one enters the town except by leave of the master, or basically the governor. Like, you don't get to come in unless the governor says so, and he's not going to risk Thranduil's or the elves their wrath. He's not going to risk picking them off.
Right.
And that's when they're like, well, surely there's ways into the town, secret ways in, like ways we can get in unseen, and for that you need a smuggler. And Balin's just like, well, for that we would pay double.
Yeah.
Because like earlier on they kind of like imply like he looks kind of rough and like probably could use the money,
Yeah. But we cut to seeing orcs along their trail, and then quickly after cut to seeing King Thranduil talking to that orc that they captured. Legolas is holding him and has a dagger to its throat, and they start questioning him. They ask why he was trailing the 13 dwarves, and the orc replies with, "Not 13. The black-haired archer was shot with a mortal shaft. Poison is in his blood." They were talking about Keeley. Apparently, we had that Morgul blade a while back, but he got shot and there was poison.
Well, and it's more than just poison. It's like when you hear like the Morgul shot, he's poisoned, whatever. Like a lot of people are like, okay, he's poisoned. It's not a huge deal. Like if they don't treat, he's gonna die. But Morgul blades and like Morgul arrows are more than just poison. It's like if he's not treated, he's going to turn into a wraith himself.
Oh.
Like it's not just he's gonna die. It's like he's going to die, yes, and then he's going to turn into a wraith under the control of Sauron.
Ooh.
Like
okay.
it's so much more than just being poisoned, and I don't think a whole lot of people know that, or if they do, they don't really realize it in this moment. It's like there's way bigger implications, and like I'm trying to think of the word. Like, I don't want to say faults. That's not the right word, but like.
There's a lot more weight to this. It's not just It's
not just you're dying. It's like you're dying, you're coming back, and you are now a prisoner of this dark, evil dude for all of eternity.
Yeah, but man, dude, I wish they would have tortured this orc. Like, seriously, how he looks. I wish that they would have taken, like, needle-nose pliers and just started tearing out his little teeth. I wish that they would have taken, like, one of their arrowheads and just started digging into his gums just to where those teeth were, Like, I hate this thing so much. But Tauriel is dismissed after trying to kill the orc, or, like, threatening to or whatever.
Yeah.
The orc says that basically this world will burn. The orc's time is coming. His master serves the one. Thranduil realizes what this means, and the orc says that the flames of war will fall on them, essentially, and then Thranduil turns around and beheads it.
And I just have to say real quick, Jacob, this orc's eyes are yellow, hence he is a Sith.
Oh, well, hey, one more. Where there's one, there's always another. I'm sorry.
Now
there's a cricket in my room.
Was he the master or the apprentice?
You little turd. Hold on. God bless it. Got it.
Well done.
Turd. I cannot stand the time that it is now because there's crickets coming into our apartment. Either way, it's a Sith. But was it the master or the apprentice? I'm guessing probably the apprentice, since he kind of looks like Darth Maul as it is. But I don't know. But Legolas asks, he's like, "Why did you do that? We were to free him." And then Thranduil replies with, "Which I did. I freed his wretched head from his miserable shoulders." And meanwhile, I thought that it was kind of, you don't really see the kind of acting that was going on in this, representative of beheading, but the orc is like vigorously shaking on the ground, like all the,
out.
All the just his twitching out. His nerves are receiving impulses of the where's my brain, and just freaking out.
Yeah.
But Thranduil says that he wants their walls guarded double and heavily watched. No one enters into their kingdom and no one leaves. Legolas tells them, kind of the guards in front, he says to seal the gate. They ask about, they're like, what about Tauriel? Apparently she has left into the forest.
Yeah. Take her bow and her blades.
Yep. And we cut back to the orcs. They're coming up on where the dwarves took a break.
Real quick, Jacob, before you continue on. Right here where the orcs are coming up, just because I have the film right here, right? Yeah. I have now noticed for the first time on the right-hand side of the screen, right as it switches over to the scene with the orcs, there's a pipe laying on one of the rocks. Like a smoking pipe.
Huh. Yeah,
it's just sitting there. And it's like, it can't be the dwarves. They got searched and everything was taken from them. Like, whose pipe is this? Bilbo's, maybe?
Maybe. Or maybe Bard's, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't think we even
realized that for the very first time.
In our coverage, we haven't covered that yet. We're just about there. The man that they ran into that's smuggling them across the lake, his name's Bard. But that's what I was referring to. But regardless,
the orcs are aware where the dwarves stop because, like, right here too at this scene, the one orc tastes the blood. Yeah,
we see it.
And even here too, Bolg sniffs and it's like there's man flesh. He smells man flesh that has been there. Like this is where they encountered the archer Bard. For those that still haven't picked up on it, actually, Jacob said it a couple times. But this is where the dwarves encountered Bard, and this is where they rested for a couple minutes.
Yeah. But they find Keely's blood. They find another scent, man flesh, and then it cuts to them on the boat. The man navigates some stone structures, and one of the dwarves raises their "What are you trying to do? Drown us?" And he replies with, "I was born and raised on these waters. If I wanted to drown you, I would not do it here." Which I thought was just kind of funny. Balin says that, because basically they don't really like this guy so far, but Balin says that they don't have to like him, they just have to pay him.
Yep. Well, because Dwalin even says maybe we should just throw him over the side.
Yeah. But they are 10 coins short of the proper payment. They ask one of them, and I can't think of which one's this one is.
My question, how do they still have these coins?
That's fair. I mean, they've been running around, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, anyways, they do ask Gloin for coins.
Okay. But he complains about it, and then some of the mist around them clears up, and they do see the Lonely Mountain. And then he's like, all right, and he gives the gold. He's reminded of what they're doing, why they're doing it, and he's like, okay, I can give you guys a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's
and he forks it up.
And part of it too is it's not just they see the Lonely Mountain; it's they are extremely close.
Yeah, they're pretty close too. Yeah, but and Bard says that they should pay now, as there's guards ahead. I wrote dwarves ahead because obviously I wasn't paying attention. Nice. Somewhere in here also, I skipped one. Bilbo mentions that the guy's name is Bard. Apparently he asked him. But then the dwarves don't like him, and then they say that you don't have to like him, you have to pay him.
Well, because they were talking about him, and Bilbo is essentially just his name's Bard, come on. And one was like, how do you know? Well, I asked him. Duh.
Yeah.
And they're like, duh, you idiot, type of tone.
Yeah. But anyway, Bard does some deal with someone on the docks, and the dwarves think he's selling them out. But then they approach a little bit further, and they get fish dumped on them because they're in the barrels.
This is a fishy situation.
Shut up, Evan. So they approach this.
It's a real pain in the bass. Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Shut up. Holy mackerel, you're weird.
I don't know any other types of fish, so I can't make more of them.
If you didn't know, mackerel's a type of fish.
Nope.
Anyway, they approach the city.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you like to hear stupid freaking jokes while we're trying to cover a TV show or movie, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Anyways, they get the fish dumped on them, and they come into one of the gates of Lake Town.
Yeah. And they enter in, and this hunchback unibrow scarecrow of a D&D stereotype shows up. And they straight up... he straight up looks like the type of people who hang out in the dorm lobby of a college, playing like a Nintendo Switch and like barking at each other. Seriously, like screw this guy. I hope he gets filleted.
Noah told me to tell you you're cute.
Oh, he's cute too. I saw him this past weekend. He's def cute.
Anyways,
this piece of fodder is claiming that these fish are illegal. Therefore, they have to dump them back out into the lake. Bard says the town is struggling for food, so when people hear the master is dumping fish back into the lake, kind of like riots are going to start.
Yeah.
Like what are you going to do then? Essentially. And then he's like, and I just said essentially again, it's become like this just mannerism now. I hate it. But anyway, so he stops them. He's like, okay, don't do that.
Yeah. And well, I mean, I'm already drawing a blank on this dude's name. I can't think of what it is. But Unibrow,
Alfred,
thank you.
We figure out that the creep's name's Alfred.
Yeah. But basically, like, when Bard first comes in, like, he's like, this is none of your business and whatnot. And Alfred's like, well, it's the master's business, which makes it my business. And it's like, Bard basically just, like, turns that around on him. Yeah,
he's basically like,
you're the one ordering it to be dumped,
happen.
So therefore the master's ordering it to be dumped. Therefore, people are going to blame the master.
Yeah, and then it's like, will it then be your problem when the rioting starts? Will it be your business then?
And I mean, I just assume, I'm not really sure though, I just assume that like these guards of this town are not very well trained. So, I mean, like when you see the town, it's like this run down town out on a lake, like looks very shambly, like very poorly built. And I just have to assume that the guards are not very well trained either.
Yeah, I think that would be reasonable.
And they've got some they've got armor on, and they all have they look like professional guards. They're all wearing the same thing, like their uniform. But like even then, it's just like they really have a lot of training. Are they really very good guards, or are they just like those guards that abuse their position? That's kind of what I take on this. Like the guards who just abuse their position, abuse the people, like take money or food if they want it, like do whatever they want. Essentially, it's just kind of the take I have on the situation in this town. Yeah.
But we kind of see a bit more of the town here. We see some pugs running around. We then see the king, who he's just this fat, disgusting horker of a person. He's just gross.
And I'm going to be honest with Jacob, I don't even know if you could call him a king.
He's really not.
Like, as far as I know,
he's the guy in charge, technically, but he's...
As far as I know, this is its own country of men. But it's like, this is their only town.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have other, like, small towns out and about throughout the land or anything. Like, this is it. This is the entire population of this quote-unquote country.
I guess in order to have a king, there has to be a kingdom, and this looks like just a backwoods Skyrim ripoff.
And so, essentially what this is, for those that are wondering right now, so that city we saw at the very beginning of the first film, when Smaug attacked the Lonely Mountain, this is the remnants of that city.
Right.
Just for clarification for everybody. Yeah. This is the remnants of that city. Man. And I mean, Lake Town was a town while Dale was like an actual city and like people lived there and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But like all those people that fled Dale and that actually escaped came here. And so they're dealing with like overpopulation, lack of food, lack of housing, all those issues that you run into, and like a bunch of like homeless people show. Like when people lose their houses, their jobs, I mean, I guess source of income will go with jobs, but like when they don't have the money to buy food, that type of stuff. This is what you run into.
Yeah.
This is essentially what this place is.
But Unibrow and this master, this makeshift leader, they talk about how they're going to stay in power. People in the town are talking of an election. They raise the question, who would have the nerve to question this tub of lard's authority? They've got something against Bard because, like, he's reasonable or something. I don't know.
Well, it's essentially like Bard is for the people and he helps people, and that makes people like him and not like the master. So therefore, Bard is a trouble.
Yeah, but yeah, Bard has the favor of the people. Alfred serves this grizzly king some nuts, basically, from some different animals. Like, it's mountain oysters, you know. So this just adds to that. There's grease on his face from eating these things. It just is a gross scene to me.
Ram and goat sautés and a lovely little mushroom gravy. That sounds disgusting. And it looks disgusting.
Like, I like mushrooms, but seeing that thing, holy crap.
Like, it sounds, in my opinion, that sounds and looks disgusting.
Yeah. But they start scheming against Bard, asking if there's some ancient law that were to exist, essentially. Dang it, essentially. I keep doing it. Okay. They're asking if some ancient law exists that would work against Bard. And then Alfred says that he'll write something. Like, oh, I'm sure that there is. I'll go ahead and write it right now. Yeah. You know, and so obviously they're corrupt.
Oh,
but
I would not even say they're corrupt. I guess because in my mind, corrupt just means like taking bribes and stuff like that. Like, they're not even. I couldn't even call them corrupt. They're just pieces of crap.
Yeah, they're just pieces of trash, really. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Unless I'm wrong in like really what corrupt means.
Well,
but like
I guess
in my mind,
basis...
it's like corrupt is like you're taking bribes, you owe bad people favors, so you're doing stuff to help those people.
Yeah, and I guess my basis on saying that they were corrupt was the whole like thing about like, oh, I'm sure that there's something that exists to keep us in power. Let's make it up.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's just like these are bad dudes. They will do anything they can to stay in power. It's not like they take bribes. They're
just like, trash.
It's like if they want money, he raises taxes so he gets more money. Yeah. If he wants food, he sends his guards to go take food. Like, that's really what it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, but we cut to Bard, and he lets the dwarves out of the fish barrels. Bard then pays off some people to keep quiet and just gives them the fish. The dwarves are in the world of men. Right here, I think, is a good place to insert our ad break, because it's roughly midway, and we're an hour in. So I'm going to roll that right now. So resuming, they get spotted. The dwarves do get spotted by a couple of guards, but as they're kind of working around, they knock them out. By the way, we hear another use of the Wilhelm scream. The however you pronounce that name, but the stereotypical sound for a stormtrooper falling or any movie, it seems.
Yeah, and at this point in the film too, I think it's very important to point out too, like Bard has the people's favor so much that when more guards show up to investigate, like the people actively help hide the bodies of these knocked out guards.
They do. And I thought it was funny too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the merchant just like pushes a flower pot off of the desk that he's at, and it falls onto the guard, knocking him back out.
Yeah. Like I said, I just think it's important to point out here that like they like Bard so much, and he has their favor so much, they're willing to essentially like be an accessory to his crime here, and hide the bodies of these knocked out guards. Like they're willing to risk helping Bard to the point where they could just be thrown in prison or executed or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the disgusting fat dude wants.
Yeah, he'd probably just eat him. But the head guard approaches the head guard approaches Bard and questions him and storms off after Bard makes some sort of comment about his wife. Kind of basically like, everybody in the town knows her, hint, hint, she's sleeping around.
He pulls this, like, I don't even know what you call it, a brassiere? Maybe?
Something like that.
Like a very skimpy looking, like, piece of clothing. It's like, I bet your wife would look lovely in this. And the guard's just like, what do you know about my wife? Well, just about as, I know her as well as any man in this town. Like, Bard's starting some stuff.
Yeah, he made that comment, but then he kind of storms off. Bard is informed by his son that their house is being watched. And as Bard heads towards his home, or he does head towards home. Meanwhile, this array of people are kind of like they're acting suspicious. But like, I think it ends up being, no, they're acting suspicious. They're watching him.
Yeah.
And as he gets to his house, they're trying to be
so like inconspicuous about it.
Yeah, but he's onto him.
Yeah.
And but because like as he gets to his house, he pulls out an apple and tosses it to one of them, and he's just like, "You can tell the master that I'm done for today." Mm-hmm. Like, he knows that they're watching him this entire time, and he's just like, "All right, guys, I'm done. Go. You don't have anything to watch." He's very smart. They're not hidden to him. But inside of his house, his kid knocks on the bathroom wall, and in and up come the dwarves. Coming up through the toilet. They're very upset about it and kind of vocal, like, you will never speak of this kind of thing. They're upset. But like, okay, here's what I don't understand. They're able to get up in there. They're coming up from the lake, right?
Yeah.
Like, the toilet just goes down into the lake. So it's like, it's not like it's a septic tank. It's just lake water. Like, there is poo in it. Like,
but
okay.
I mean, like,
but they're not directly in the poo.
You would feel the same way if you were crawling up through someone's toilet.
I mean, I would think that it's a little gross, but I don't think that I would be acting
it's just the
as
fact
disgusted
you're coming up
as
out
them.
Of someone's toilet. Like, come on.
Yeah, but it's not like they're pooping on me as I'm coming up. It's not like that bad. I guess I feel like they're overreacting a little bit, but it would be, I guess, somewhat gross regardless. So okay.
I think it's more so just the humiliation that you would feel at that point. Like, I'm coming up through someone's toilet right now.
I can see that being
like, regardless of whether it's disgusting or not, like, whether there's actually poop right underneath or anything like that. It's just like, I am coming up through someone's toilet. Wow. This is very embarrassing.
Yeah. But they come up and they enter his home. Thorin notices a very large crossbow up on a tower in the town, and he says that it is a dwarvish wind lance, a weapon aging back to the dragon attack. Only a black arrow fired from a wind lance can pierce a dragon's hide. Few of those arrows were ever made. Girion, I believe, old Lord of Dale, made his last stand with those arrows, striking the dragon, but not piercing it. That's what they were saying the story was.
Girion.
Yeah, Girion.
They say he was the Lord of Dale, so the ruler of Dale.
Right.
He rallied his bowmen to try and take the dragon down.
Mm-hmm.
Balin talked about how hard a dragon's scales are, and like as you said, it would take a black arrow fired from one of those wind lances to kill one.
Yeah.
And Bane, Bard's son, even says that Girion's hit the dragon. I think it was like on the left of his breast, under the wing, and actually knocked a scale away.
But the dwarves say that that's just an old tale,
a fairy tale, an old wise tale.
Essentially,
that's just it's not true. But Bard is actually suspicious of him as well. Like, it sounds like you were you say it like you were there. It's like you witnessed it. They try and play it off of like, well, all dwarves know the tale, type of thing. But I think honestly, Bard really doesn't
believe him.
I would say he doesn't believe them in the sense that they're just trying to say like all the dwarves know. I think he still believes that they were there. He's still very suspicious of them.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Keeley is struggling. He's in pain, and we kind of see it just progressively taking effect.
Yeah.
But Bard tells his son not to let the dwarves leave, and then he takes off because he is suspicious of like, were they there? That.
Yeah. Well, and before he
I think
leaves,
that's in his mind because of where he goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Before he leaves, though, they do ask for the weapons that they paid him for.
Oh right, yeah.
And he just brings out like these very rudimentary, like very poorly made weapons. Where like one was like Smithy's hammer that was adapted to try and be like a great hammer.
Yeah.
One I think he says like a pike hook, which is like 3 fisherman hooks attached to a freaking pole. And it's just like very rude, very like I can't think of the word, like impromptu weapons.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it gets to the point where he tells them they're not going to be able to find any like iron forged weapons other than like the armory. And then Balin tries to reason with Thorin and actually calls him by name, which is what piques Bard's interest even more.
Yeah.
And when they're like, "We're leaving now," and Bard's like, "No, you can't leave until after it's nighttime because the house is still being watched. We don't want anyone to know you're here." And that's when he really goes to investigate more about these dwarves after he hears Thorin's name.
Yeah. But we cut back to Tariel, trailing the dwarves. She spins around knowing someone is there. It ends up being Legolas, who she almost shoots. Which, if he sees her, he draws his bow in return. Why does he do that? Because, like, he knows that it's her. Honestly, she doesn't know that it's him because she thinks that he's maybe an orc. So she turns around ready to defend.
I would say he has his bow ready just in case she does fire. He can attempt to shoot it out of the air. I would say.
Probably.
Is his reasoning there? Like, obviously, he's not just going to shoot.
Right. So that would make sense. But she knows that Legolas would join her, so she wasn't hunting orcs on her own, because he's like, "You're doing this on your own," or whatever, and she's like, "No, I knew you would come."
Yeah, and Legolas actually even gives us a number
and that
here.
was a proper use of it. That wasn't just this tick, okay? I said essentially
Legolas
again,
does give us a number of orcs here, and he says 30, but I'm assuming he just is estimating how many are left. I would assume he doesn't actually know how many are left, otherwise I'd have some questions. Like, number 1, how do you know? And number 2, why are you in league with them? But that's besides the point.
But yeah, he tells her to come back, saying that his father will forgive her.
Yeah, and he even gives us kind of a brief, kind of an assumption of age for Tariel here as well. He says for 600 years his father has watched over her and favored her.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, she's been around for a little while, and she's old.
Yeah.
Not as old as some elves, but she's old.
Yeah. But she says no. She says that they need to assist the dwarves for the greater good. We go back to Bard, and he is searching for a tapestry that he saw while in the market kind of area. He finds it, and it has the line of Durin written on it. And as he's like, people are kind of saying this prophecy that's going on, which is that they're going to return to the Lonely Mountain, all that stuff that they're doing now. People are talking of that, and riches flowing.
Yeah. Vast halls of treasure, silver, gold, jewels, the Lord of Silver Fountains, and we actually hear the prophecy as Bard's saying it.
And he pieces it together. He pieces it together though that these are the guys.
Yeah, but so the fountain, or the prophecy, and I'll just read it as it's said here for those that are curious. From what it shows here, because he just starts with like a portion of it, like kind of like a little ways into it, and it goes, the Lord of Silver Fountains, the King of Carven Stone, the king beneath the mountain. Hurry the up, movie, come on. Shall come into his own, and the bell shall ring in gladness as at the mountain king's return, but all shall fail in sadness, and the lake will shine and burn. And so it's basically just prophesizing that the king will return to the mountain and attempt to take the mountain back, but they're going to fail and everyone's going to die. Is essentially what the prophecy is saying.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how it's interpreted thus far.
Yeah. But after he's figured this out, he takes off running. He goes home just to find out that the dwarves have taken off. They've left. They are seeking out weapons, and they kind of form themselves into stairs and climb each other into this like guards keep kind of area.
Yeah, I would assume this is a barracks / armory. I would assume.
Yeah. And cut into that weasel of a Slenderman informing the king of, or the guy, the grizzly gross dude. He's informing him of that prophecy.
Yeah, it's like people are bringing it up again. You know?
Yeah. The dwarves have found weapons.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I have the film right here and I have the subtitles on, at one point, this fat piece of lard literally just says the word
just randomly.
He's looking over like documents and counting his gold, and he just says And I don't know. Is that them not saying a cuss word but wanting it to be in the place of a cuss word, or what? Like, I don't.
Or like he's saying, yeah, that's weird.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Anyways,
that's
it goes
weird.
back to the dwarves and Bilbo, and they're grabbing weapons off the wall.
Yeah, but they drop them and end up getting themselves caught because it made a bunch of noise.
Yeah, well, because it's Keeley again with his leg. You know, as he's trying to go down the stairs and just stumbles and falls.
Yeah.
And it's just weapons all over the place. And I'm surprised he is not dead from this.
Honestly, yeah, it's been a little while.
He was carrying quite not the poison, the fact that he fell while carrying all of these weapons. Like, how did he not like get impaled on a sword or something? Like,
yeah.
Like, how is he still alive?
Yeah. But guards show up and end up bringing them to that master.
Yeah, captured and.
So out comes the balding bagger and his mole rat of a sidekick. The dwarves explain their mission and the prophecy, how it's connected. He shares their quest with them. Thorin remembers the place, Dale, and promises riches. Bard shows up and objects, saying that only death will come upon them. He says that when they get to the mountain, they're going to awaken Alduin, and he will destroy them all.
Oh, hold on a second. Smaug is way cooler and way more powerful than Alduin.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Like that.
Regardless, Parthenos.
I'm sorry, real quick. Alduin from Skyrim is a piece of shit of a villain. Sorry, he's garbage. Anyways, back
I'm just replaying it again, so I'm gonna actually probably learn that soon. Either way.
But yeah, Bard is like objecting to this, like basically saying that like per this prophecy that everybody's trying to quote and be like, oh, we're gonna get riches from. Like he's like, how about you remember the last line where the lake is gonna burn? Like, if they go there, they're literally gonna have us all die. You know? Yeah,
saying that only death will come upon them.
But Thorin basically gets up there and is like, hey, you help us out, we're gonna make you freaking rich.
Yeah, he's promising to share it. Slimy Hunch says that we don't know Thorin, so how can we trust him? Who here can even vouch for his character? And Bilbo backs him.
And this part right here too, where sorry.
Oh, nope, I was pretty well done.
Okay, I was just say this part right here with Bilbo backing him is actually an extended scene. For the film. Yeah, it's
interesting.
It's a very short, like 20-second portion, you know, but like that small little part where he backs Thorin is an extended an extended scene from the theatrical version. Yeah. And Thorin does actually give us the name of this basically country they're in now, and it's Esgaroth.
Oh, okay.
For those that are maybe curious, I don't really think anybody else is. But, that's the name of like where Lake Town and like Dale and even the Lonely Mountain, like they're all in the big chunk of land known as Esgaroth. Anyways, Bilbo vouches for Thorin again, just basically like making Thorin appreciate him even more.
Right. Yeah. But Bard is still raising his concerns.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on.
Well, and Bard's raising his concerns, and the master, the piece of lard, even like says like, "Well, let's not lay blame on anybody quite yet. Let's remember that it was Girion, Bard's ancestor, who failed to kill the dragon." And this is where we learn that like Bard is a descendant of the Lord of Dale.
Right. The Lord of Dale, Girion, was Bard's ancestor, and he failed to kill Draco, and just kind of shamed their line in a way,
Yeah. I mean, it's like, so if I'm not mistaken, Lake Town falls under the control of Dale when Dale was still a city before the whole dragon thing, right? But since Dale is destroyed and they come into Lake Town, it's not just, oh, well, I was the Lord of Dale or I was the Lord of Dale's son, so now I'm in charge. It's like, no, you're thrown in the same boat as everybody else that's coming in. You're homeless, you're jobless, we're not giving you stuff. We're like, come in and try and make your own way.
Yeah. But, so moving along, though, Bard says that Thorin has no right to enter that mountain, to which he returns with, "I have the only right." Because
in which, I mean, he does.
He does, yeah.
Thorin is the only character in this the only person in this universe at this point who has a right to try and claim that mountain. Like, he is the direct descendant of the king of that mountain, or like, no one else has more right than Thorin does to try and take it back.
Right. But anyway, so Jabba gives his blessing and lets them go. We cut to the next day. We cut to the next day, and Bofur is missing, but they load up the boat and head along the lake. Thorin tells Keely to stay. He's like, "Stay here until you're healed," and Feely ends up staying behind with Keely.
Yeah.
The city sends them off.
I mean, at this point,
and kind of like a celebration.
I would say it's more so like, it's not the fact that he's injured; it's the fact that they are in a hurry.
Yeah.
And like the injury is part of it, yes, but the overall fact that he's going to slow them down is the reason. It's not just because he's injured; it's because he's going to slow them down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like if they still had a little bit more time, I'm sure they would not have left Keely behind.
Yeah. So the city sends them off though as they go along the lake, and then we see Bofur wake up. He was just chilling in the house and he was asleep. He wakes up and he's like, "My God, the time," or whatever. He's freaking out, but he still has time to grab a drink. He takes it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, he wakes up and
runs
smacks his head on the table.
Yeah. But he runs out the door and he's trying to catch up with the group. He ends up running into Feely and Keely, and he just approaches them and he's just like, "Oh, so you missed the boat as well?" Like,
well, and it's one of, I can't think of the dwarf's name, but he's the old dude that has like the little earpiece,
Oh yeah.
That one, he steps out to be like, "Well, I belong with the wounded. I can help with his injury," type of thing.
Oh, okay.
And volunteers to stay behind. But
yeah.
Now the
Anyway,
dwarves.
so there's like 4 of them.
Yeah, the dwarves and Bilbo are going with 9 now instead of the original 13.
Right.
Or 14. So I guess they're going with 10 because Bilbo was 14.
Yeah, but
That sounds
I don't know. It's like 13 or 14.
It sounds right.
But anyway, the master, so they come up and they ask for help. The master declines their request for help in medicine. They're being disgusting pieces of trash about it too. Then they continue to plot against Bard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at this point where he's like sends him away, it's one of those things. It's like, I'm not getting anything out of this, so go scram. Like I'm not even going to consider helping you. I don't get anything, so screw you.
Yeah, pretty much. But the dwarves return to Bard's house and request help as the others approach the mountain. The ones on the mountain, they reach a plateau area where Gandalf said he'd meet them.
Yes, so this is the overlook.
And they actually see the old city of Dale.
Yeah.
Which is just a ruin now, but they see it.
And I want to reference back to our podcast episode right before this one, when we covered part 1 of this movie, where I was like, I'll point out the overlook once we get to that point.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the overlook where they're at. This is where they're supposed to meet Gandalf. But they're like, nah, we ain't going to wait.
Yeah, they don't. He pushes on without Gandalf. But then it cuts to Gandalf, and he's at Dol Guldur, which he comments has a spell on it of concealment. He sends Radagast to go to Galadriel, I believe. And then proceeds to go in alone.
He tells Radagast to go to Galadriel and tell her that they need to force Sauron's hand. Sauron's not ready to reveal himself yet. He's not ready to show what might he has acquired so far.
Yeah.
So Gandalf goes in alone and tells Radagast, don't come after me. Like, no matter what you hear or see, don't come after me. Leave me and, just get to Galadriel.
Yeah. But Radagast... Yeah.
Yeah, at which point Radagast starts walking off and turns back as Gandalf's crossing the bridge. Like, what if it's a trap? Gandalf's like, turn around and go. It's definitely a trap.
He says that. Yeah, it's a trap. No, he says that. He's like, just don't look back, and then he like kind of mumbles to himself. It's undoubtedly a trap.
Yeah.
But he then explores Dol Guldur a bit. We see that something's there with him, kind of lurking.
Mm-hmm. And I mean,
then
really,
we cut back. Yeah.
Sorry, I would say this with Dol Guldur is one of the spots where we see more powerful magic in play. Here in the Lord of the Rings universe, and I guess in terms of the films between the Hobbit and the trilogy, this is one of the spots where we see more powerful magic in play. It's like, by all intents and purposes, and like looking at Dol Guldur from the outside, it just looks abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
But inside Dol Guldur is an army of orcs and whatnot. Like, Sauron is building his army here. We're talking like thousands upon thousands of orcs, and they're all hidden in this fortress. But from the outside, and even walking through with Gandalf right here, the little bit we get to see, looks completely abandoned. We don't see anybody.
Yeah.
But it has that feel, like you said, of like something's there with it.
Yeah. But we cut back to the dwarves, and they're searching for the door. Bilbo ends up pointing out, is like, oh, there's the door, and it's up high. Or it must be up there, like I said, like this. I just did it again.
They're looking
That's what he says.
I'm not saying they're looking for like a staircase or something like that.
Yeah,
or like a way up.
Which Bilbo points out.
Yeah.
But then we cut back to Gandalf. He commands the evil that is there with him to come forth. He casts some sort of spell. We do see that Azog is there. But then Gandalf gets...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say Gandalf gets attacked by a crawling creature, and he loses his hat.
But Gandalf essentially is just using magic to break this illusion of nothing being there. That's essentially
right. Yeah.
Like he said in the previous scene we saw him in, like, forcing Sauron's hand, like revealing Sauron's forces, like making him move before he wants to move.
Yeah. But it attacks him. He gets kind of in this wrestling, and he catches it and he chants at its forehead, like not chants, but like he says some stuff.
It's another spell.
Yeah, it's a spell,
Yeah.
and he ends up calming it and restores its sanity a bit. But we learn that we see that it's Thrain.
Yeah.
Thrain, Evan.
Yep. Gotcha.
Thrain.
Thror? It's Thror. Everybody, it's...
But he recognizes Gandalf and says he's been there a lifetime.
Yeah.
Gandalf apologizes for giving up on him for dead.
I was going to say, like, even at up until this point, as far as we know, Thrain's dead. You know, like, we have had no... We've had no proof or even, like, any sort of, like, circumstantial evidence to think that he's alive.
Yeah.
You know, and this is just like, oh, holy crap, he's alive this whole time? What the heck? Type thing.
Yeah. But he remembers Thorin, and Gandalf says that he will see Thorin again. Thrain we kind of see a bit of a flashback. Thrain had fought Azog, who had knocked him down.
Yeah.
But instead of killing him, he noticed that he had the dwarven ring on his finger, and he cut his finger off, but took it.
Yeah,
the last of the seven.
Yeah, because as was mentioned before, 4 were devoured by dragons. Sauron has the other 2.
Right, and seeing this, how Azog took it, and now Azog is following Sauron, means Sauron pretty well probably has it.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever directly said, but it is implied that Sauron now has the last dwarf.
Yeah. But, we go along a little bit. Gandalf debunks an illusion of moving vines that Thrain was freaking out about. Gandalf tells Thrain of the quest that is happening, that Thorin is on, and he then basically, Thrain freaks out a little bit. He says, no one must enter that mountain. So then we cut back to the dwarves, and they're getting ready to enter the mountain. But this is the place that I chose would be a good place to end for this episode. That puts us right at 1 hour and 59 minutes, exactly an hour from of movie. Exactly an hour there.
Yeah.
But that's coverage and walkthrough of Hobbit: Desolation of Smaug Part 2. Anything you want to say, Evan, before we do our closing spiel?
No, I don't really think so.
Okay. Well, in that case, then we will be recording again, probably in person. I don't know if we'll record before then, but in covering Mandalorian Chapter 10, and then
Season 2, Episode 2.
Yep, or Chapter 10, like I said. But other than that, we have our things you can check us out on, and I will get to another part here. I kind of went out of order, but you can see Evan at Future Instinct on YouTube and me at Rude, Crude, and Socially Acceptable on YouTube.
Yeah.
I also have a podcast where we just somewhat recently finished up the full first season of, called Down the Road. So there's those things. Your In Depth now has an Instagram and a TikTok, which I have not been very active on, but those are methods that you can use to directly message us, get in contact with us. If you don't like those, we also have a Discord and an email, which is yourindepth@gmail.com.
And then we do have
the last thing
goals.
is what Evan's going to say. Yep.
Yeah, we do have our goals. Every 1,000 downloads is a blooper reel, and I don't know how close we are, Jacob. I don't know if you have those
less
numbers.
Than 100.
Less than 100 away, so one of those is going to come out very soon. And then we do have our live stream coverage that we have yet to do one of. because it's as I've said every time, it's on you guys. Leaving reviews on the Apple Podcast app.
Yep.
So every 100 reviews we get, we will do a live stream coverage where you guys can interact with us and ask us questions while we're in there talking over whatever movie part or whatever episodes we are on at that time. But as I've said, it is on you guys and your interaction. So if you want to see that stuff, go and leave reviews, spread the word, tell your friends, family, whoever you want to tell, so that they can leave reviews as well.
Yeah, spread the word and help out and keep on enjoying. I hope that you are. But yeah, I'd say until next time.
Peace.
Deuces.